Hey everybody, I'm William Wallace for Louisiana here on Facebook. And again, I'm bringing on Daniel Erspeimer with the Pelican Institute on again, because we're going to talk about what things that they're doing and working on in the next the next legislative session here in Baton Rouge. Daniel, thanks for coming on again. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So there's some hot things coming up in the this next legislative session, we'll say.
Easy for you to say.
The tongue twister, I know, exactly. It's funny how many legislators I talk to and how often they still fumble with the legislative session.
All the time.
No pun intended on that one. You know, well, what type of legislation is the Pelican Institute working for in this next session?
So we've got a few key priorities. The first, and everyone's talking about this, is going to define certainly the first part of the legislative session, not the whole thing, is legal reform.
Okay.
For too long, we have had a system that has allowed lawsuit abuse to flourish. And the net result of that is we see jobs leaving the state, people leaving the state, auto insurance at all-time highs. We're the second highest in the country, and Michigan just passed reform. They've been highest to beat us for a while, so we're likely to jump them, unfortunately, on the list. There's a lot of issues involved. It's complicated, but the fundamental problem is when you have a broken legal system, the people who really need it are the ones who get left behind. And so we've got to do it for all sorts of reasons, to keep jobs here, to help people. I've talked before about finding pathways to opportunity. A abusive legal system is a blockage to that. It hurts people, and it hurts the people that need the system the most.
It's well, from what I've heard, you're bringing multiple people to the table. You're not just bringing one side, you're bringing all sides to the table too.
Oh, absolutely. Look, this has got to be a big debate. This has got to involve a lot of people coming together to propose solutions. And let's be clear, it's not just about auto insurance. You know, I know that has gotten a lot of the conversation, and
a lot of people are talking about that.
Yeah, and look, this affects everyone, and frankly, it disproportionately affects the least advantaged in our communities.
Right.
Those are the folks that are paying the highest proportion of their incomes.
What I find is that they're allowed to rate people on their credit scores.
Sure.
You know, and like you said, the disadvantaged people who are being rated on credit scores, you know, are being hurt the most on this.
Yeah, there's all sorts of problems. You know, legal reform is just one piece of it. But look, to suggest you can fix auto insurance without fixing legal reform is a complete fantasy. But there's more to it. We need more competition. We need more people writing insurance policies. There's a lot of components to it. And when we talk about lawsuit abuse, think about the coast. The Pelican Institute did a study this fall looking at what was the impact on the economy and jobs of these coastal lawsuits. So as your viewers might know, many of the local parishes at gunpoint from the state, in some ways, have taken on lawsuits against the oil gas companies operating offshore. These are the largest job creators in the area, and the driver of the economy. Based on our study, just the lawsuits alone, so setting aside fluctuations in prices and the economy overall, just the lawsuits have yielded a net result of somewhere between $50 and $100 million in lost economic activity every year. Not only that, you start to look at the impact on jobs. We looked at just the first 2 years of the lawsuits. We estimate conservatively about 2,000 jobs killed just because of the lawsuits. And here's the kicker of it. You know, something that's supposedly to help coastal erosion. Of course, there's no evidence that any of the money coming in is going to actually go to help coastal erosion. The fact is, this is hurting local government too, who's the front lines of fixing coastal erosion. Because of that lost economic activity, the local governments and tax revenue are actually losing more money than the oil companies are because of the hurt. This is
a complex issue.
It is a complex issue, and it's a poor solution to try to solve.
And what I like is how you're going to bring more people to the table to find answers on both sides. So that way we can find solutions for the people in Louisiana. What about education reform?
Yeah. So the biggest problem, we've got a lot of problems.
Absolutely.
We've got to make sure we're telling the truth about how our schools are actually performing. We've got to make sure that the bill we're going to be working on a lot this session is on transparency. So as you may know, we spend $12,000 on average per kid, about $3,000 or $4,000 more than our neighboring states to educate kids. Only to have it's a lot of money, only to have the worst economic or the worst educational outcomes, and pay our teachers less.
Yes.
Something is wrong in this equation. So the question we have to ask is, where's the money?
Right.
So we'll have been talking about this now for a while, but we'll be working on a bill this session that that's going to tell taxpayers and you and me and everybody else, where's the money going? How are we spending it? So then we can have that transparency and make better decisions, hopefully, about where those dollars are going, so we can get better outcomes, pay our teachers more, and get better outcomes for our kids.
And what I'd like to point out from what I'm hearing is that you're like the leadership on the conservative side, of these issues. But what I'd also like to point out is, to the listeners, is that conservatism isn't just a one-sided issue, that both Republicans and Democrats can agree on conservative issues at times. And you guys are looking out for money, which is a conservative issue, by looking out for our taxpayer dollars and finding better ways for these to be spent. That not only helps taxpayers, but in this case, it's going to help our students also.
Yeah, look, ultimately, we want an education system that allows every child to pursue a school that fits them, right?
No matter what their parents' politics are.
No matter what their politics are, no matter what zip code they live in, there are so many opportunities for kids that we're missing out on here in Louisiana because we are constrained by a one-size-fits-all system, spending lots and lots of money to do it. We can do this better. We know we can, and it'll benefit everyone.
I love that. What about criminal justice? I know that's a hot topic for you guys. And it's a hot topic now. There's things I've seen in Jefferson Parish, for instance, that they're making a lot of advancements on. And what are you doing on the state law level?
Yeah, so our point of view on criminal justice is for too long, Louisiana spent far too much money putting a lot of people in jail for low-level, non-violent crimes. That made it worse. That made the cycle of recidivism worse and worse. And we didn't focus on how folks who are going into incarceration come back out so that they can find a job and rejoin their communities. And so when you think about it, about 95% on average of anyone who goes into incarceration is coming back out in the community. And so if you realize that they're coming out at some point, you need to make sure they're not incentivized to commit more crimes. That they can come out and get a job and rejoin their families and rejoin communities. And that's what this is really all about, is providing that pathway. So clearing away obstacles like occupational licensure to getting a job, to having good reentry programs, make sure everybody has a driver's license when they come out, or a photo ID rather, and a certificate of rehabilitation that notes all of the training and things that they got while they were incarcerated as part of their reentry program. All of these things are going to help people get back into society, reduce that cycle of recidivism. And look, we know it works. This has already been tried in states across the country. We're just replicating the best parts of other people's reforms, and we're going to improve public safety, save taxpayer dollars, and reduce the cycle of recidivism. Everybody wins.
I like this. What I want to point out, correct me if I'm wrong, the Pelican Institute is not advocating just letting people out. It's advocating that when people do get out, that you all have a better path to them to join into our society and be productive members of society without recurring, repeat offenders.
Absolutely. And also making sure that sentences in Louisiana are consistent with sentences around the country. One of our challenges, and this is where the you're just letting people out of prison kind of line comes from, we've been putting people in jail for non-violent offenses, low-level drug crimes, things like that, for far longer than any of our neighboring states. And here's what happens. When you are incarcerated, it's basically getting an MBA in criminology, right? You learn how to become a better criminal. And what happens time and time again is that cycle of recidivism just catches people. If we can move people from pretrial diversion programs onto reentry, we can fix the cycle long term and make sure we're following, again, the policies we know across the country work to actually lower the crime rate. Some of it seems counterintuitive, but at the end of the day, that's what we all want. We want less crime, a more peaceful society, and a job or a community where people can get a job. And that's what we're trying to do.
And what I'd like to point out is that you can follow the Pelican Institute on the Facebook page and their website, see the things that they're doing. But if you really want to get into it, you can start, like Daniel said, comparing it to other states, what they're doing and what has worked. And that's one of the things that the Pelican Institute is doing, is looking at what other states are doing and what's working and not working. So you're not looking just to come up with things and throw jello on the wall to see what sticks. You're actually seeing results from other states. And that's the good thing that the Pelican Institute is doing the research that people don't have the time to do. What about less government? And then I'm going to ask you one more question so we can let the great viewers.
There you go.
What about less government?
Yeah, so look, everywhere we turn, whether it's regulation or we talked a little bit about occupational licensure, we have the most burdensome occupational licensure regime where you have to ask permission from the government to do your job, especially for low-income jobs in any state in the country.
Right.
This is preventing people from moving up the economic ladder. This is a a clear encroachment of government on people's lives.
And small business affects small business.
It affects small business incredibly, and it blocks budding entrepreneurs who may have the next big idea, the next big enterprise. We're also looking, we talk about less government, spending has grown out of control. As population has decreased, we're having people move out of the state budget's increased some 20% over the last 4 or 5 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
No other business can sustain that. No other enterprise.
If you spend more money and you have less people to pay it, one of two things doesn't happen. You're going to go bankrupt as a state, or taxpayers have to be sharing more of the burden.
Right. And so what we've done is we've lurched from budget crisis to budget crisis. What we're proposing this year is a spending limit that actually tracks government spending to population and inflation. So we say, look, if population is growing, if inflation is growing, it makes sense. The government can spend a little more money. If we're not seeing that, we have stagnant GDP, we have people leaving the state, the government should not be growing. And the truth is, and your viewers all know it, government has grown, and not a single one of us has felt any better off from it. This is just unbridled government growth, the same old government we've had since our friend Huey Long was building this building.
We have him over our shoulder right
right.
now. Well, it's interesting because I posted on my site here just a few days ago, William Wallace for Louisiana, that I posted a site that shows how our population since the state's inception, since it became a state, our population has consistently grown every year, but in the last 4 years, our population has dropped. And like you said, if government's growing and our population is dropping, it's not a path to success.
Never ends well.
And you guys are kind of pointing that out. So before we close out, the 3 hot topics for the next legislative session are?
Legal reform, education transparency, and one thing we didn't talk about, maybe next time, is making sure we get a handle on Medicaid expansion and really tackling the waste, fraud, and abuse we've seen in this program that's been massive, and tackling also what's called the crowd out problem, which means people who have had private health insurance who moved on to government health insurance because of Medicaid expansion. It's a bad cycle of dependency, and people don't like it. We've got to fix this problem.
I love it. Daniel, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Everybody else, please, share the video, and I think you'll find, and if you keep an eye on the Pelican Institute, they may have some issues that you're interested in being helped with. Thank you so much.